the best ever Irish stew. I forgot what I was making. That's what I'm making, right? Perfect for St. Patrick's Day, perfect for a hearty, satisfying, rich stew flavor. What am I even saying? Or just a perfect meal for a cold night, you know, so comforting and rich and hearty, it's amazing. Ba-ba-ba-da-ba-ba. So the key that separates Irish stew from just a regular old stew is stout beer. You add a whole can of stout beer to the recipe, which makes the stew super rich and hearty. And if you are not a beer fan, don't worry, you'll probably like this recipe too, because I don't love stout beers to drink, but this, ooh-wee, so delicious. Super rich, super intense and bold and lovely. The alcohol gets cooked right out so you don't have to worry about the little kitties. It's just like the Irish, they know what they're doing. They know how to make a good hearty stew for a cold night. Alright, so let's get to making this hearty, vegan Irish stew. So to start, I gotta prep my veggies. So I'm gonna chop up my onion, garlic, celery, carrots, mushrooms, baby potatoes, and parsnips. These parsnips I have are like baby parsnips, so I'm actually using 3 instead of the 2 I say in the recipe. Because they're just little baby guys, you know? Beautiful, done, I love it. The power of editing takes that much time. So I chopped up all my veggies and I left them nice and chunky in fairly large sized pieces because this is what's gonna make this stew just, you know, all those big chunky pieces, amazing. But don't worry, you don't have to try to scramble and write down these directions. I have the full instructions for the recipe on my blog. I'll link it down below and put one right up here as well. So let's hop over to the stove and begin cooking up this Irish stew. Wonderful, so in a big old pot, we're gonna turn that sucker on and heat up 2 tablespoons of olive oil. 1, 2. And when my oil is hot, I am going to add the onions, garlic, and celery. Oh, so many things. Smells good already. Sauteing the onions and celery and garlic, la la la. So now that my onion and garlic and celery are beginning to brown, I'm just gonna sprinkle in a 1/4 cup of vegetable broth and stir that in to coat the vegetables. Now we're just gonna let that cook while I'm stirring for about a minute. If you're gluten-free, you can substitute an all-purpose gluten-free flour and it should work just fine. Okay, the flour is a little bit fragrant. I can see it smells very toasty. So adding 2 cups of vegetable broth. Now I'm gonna use my spoon to run around and scrape the bits off the bottom of the pan because that is where all the flavor is. Once I feel like I've scraped up all those bits, now I get to add everything else. All of my potato down. I've got my little potatoes here. If you have large potatoes, that's fine. You can just chop them up a bit more. I've got mushrooms, get in there. Parsnips. Now some people told me that they don't like parsnips, so that's fine. You can just skip the parsnips, or if you don't like mushrooms, just skip the mushrooms. Do what you want, you know? It's a pretty forgiving recipe in that way. Carrots, all of that is in there. I've got my can of stout beer here. Here. Pour in the beer. The beer will probably foam up quite a bit, and that's fine. The bubbles and the alcohol will cook right on out. Now I'm using this local vegan stout beer, which I discovered is vegan by using the app Vegaholic, or you can also check out the website Barnivore. I know that Guinness is vegan in some places, but not yet everywhere. So just find whatever stout you like, that's the one you should use. Adding my tomato paste. I know this might seem like a large amount of tomato paste, but it's just my hack instead of spending the time cooking down tomatoes. You just have them already cooked down for you. 2 teaspoons of brown sugar, just for a teensy bit of sweetness. 2 bay leaves, dried thyme, black pepper, and salt, of course. Now just mix everything together. Right now the beer smell is fairly strong, and that's because the alcohol is cooking out, but that will like simmer down and chill out, and don't you worry, it'll be delish. Now I'm just gonna bring this to a simmer and cook it for about 10 to 15 minutes until all the veggies are fork tender and delicious and ready to eat. Beautiful, it's so gorgeous and smells delicious. My stew is cooked. This is gonna make for a really thick, like stick to your ribs type stew. So if you want to thin your stew out a little bit, you can add 1 to 2 cups more vegetable broth until you've reached your desired sticky thick stew consistency. Okay, now I'm gonna serve myself up a big bowl of stew. Okie dokie. Ooh, smells amazing. This stew is so intense and thick and rich. Do you see that? Okay, gotta have a bite. Mmm. Oh, so good. Wait, I need another bite. That is so good. It's so rich and hearty. It's like the perfect stick to your ribs kind of stew. Serve this up with like a side of like crusty bread to dip in there and get all those leftover sauces. Beautiful. So I think this year I'm gonna make some vegan Irish stew and serve it up to my friends with some crusty bread and maybe watch a movie or something. That's how I'm gonna spend my St. Patrick's Day. Let me know in the comments below how you plan to spend your St. Patrick's Day. I very much hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, it would be great if you could give it a like. It really helps my work out here on this channel. And of course, don't forget to subscribe and hit that little bell notification button for another fuss-free vegan video every single Wednesday. I'll see you next week. Bon appetit! Can't stop eating. Must stop eating. Must start talking.